The war between Paul Heyman and Jon Moxley, the truth behind the Shield and the Bloodline. The wrestling world is spinning after what just happened between Paul Heyman and Jon Moxley. What started as a war of words has now escalated into something far more dangerous. And believe me when I say this isn't just about old wounds, this is about rewriting the legacy of the most dominant factions in WWE history. The Shield. The Bloodline. Both built on chaos, power, and brotherhood. But now, one man is claiming he created both and destroyed both. And another man isn't having it. Paul Heyman lit the fuse. And now, Jon Moxley is ready to explode. It all began when Jon Moxley, the man once known as Dean Ambrose, sent out a cryptic but deadly message. In a promo dripping with venom, he called out Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, the two brothers he once fought alongside as the Shield. But he didn't stop there. Moxley turned his rage to the mastermind himself, Paul Heyman. And in true Heyman fashion, the wise man did not stay silent. He stepped into the ring, microphone in hand, eyes full of fire, and said something no one in the WWE universe expected to hear. With a chilling calmness, Heyman declared, "I built the Shield. I created the Bloodline. And when the time came, I destroyed them both." The crowd gasped. No music. No pyro. Just the words echoing through the arena like thunder. And for the first time, the truth hit harder than any steel chair. This wasn't just another Paul Heyman promo full of hype and strategy. This was a confession. A declaration. A power move unlike anything we've seen in years. According to Heyman, everything we thought we knew about the rise and fall of the Shield and the dominance of the Bloodline was a carefully executed chess game, with Heyman moving the pieces. And who was his biggest pawn? Roman Reigns. For years, Roman Reigns has stood at the top as the tribal chief, the head of the table. But what if he wasn't truly the one in control? What if all along, Paul Heyman was the true puppet master pulling the strings? From Seth Rollins' betrayal to the Shield's collapse, from Roman's domination to the Bloodline's internal war, every moment, every decision, every fall from grace, it might have all been part of Heyman's master plan. And now Jon Moxley is done staying silent. Backstage sources are saying Moxley heard Heyman's words and immediately responded, not in front of a live crowd, but in a private message that's now making waves through every corner of social media. Moxley made it clear, this was personal. Let's take a closer look at how this all began and what it means for the future of WWE. The rise of the Shield. To truly understand the magnitude of the confrontation between Moxley and Heyman, we need to rewind the clock to the birth of the Shield in 2012. A faction built on the principles of justice, chaos, and brotherhood. At first, they were the saviors of WWE, storming into the ring to right the wrongs of the corrupt establishment. Moxley, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins quickly became three of the most dominant forces in WWE. But behind their success, there was someone pulling the strings. The mastermind. The advocate. Paul Heyman. From the very beginning, Heyman was there in the background, offering his wisdom and guidance. It was Heyman who understood the potential of these three men. He saw them not as mere wrestlers, but as weapons. He made sure that each member of the Shield had a purpose. But as the years went on, cracks began to form in the Shield's armor. The first major blow came when Seth Rollins turned on his brothers, aligning himself with Triple H and the Authority. It was a betrayal that shocked the world and left a deep scar in the hearts of fans. But what if that betrayal wasn't as spontaneous as it seemed? What if it was all part of Heyman's plan? After all, Heyman had always been a master of manipulation. And Rollins' sudden shift to the Authority allowed him to rise to new heights, eventually becoming the Universal Champion. Did Heyman see Rollins as a necessary casualty in his larger scheme? The dissolution of the Shield was one of the most painful moments in wrestling history. But was it really a surprise? Was it the natural evolution of the Shield, or was it Heyman's plan to reshape the future of WWE from behind the scenes? The rise of the Bloodline. Fast forward a few years, and we enter the era of the Bloodline. Led by Roman Reigns, the Bloodline was a faction that defined dominance. Roman Reigns had found himself atop the WWE food chain, not as just a champion, but as the tribal chief, the head of the table. And standing beside him, guiding him every step of the way, was Paul Heyman. The Bloodline's reign of terror has been one of the most successful and dominant periods in WWE history. But as much as Roman Reigns became synonymous with the Bloodline, was it really him pulling the strings? Or was it Heyman again, working his magic from behind the curtain? Roman Reigns became the face of the company, the figurehead of a new era. But Heyman was always there, whispering in his ear, directing him, and pushing him to become the ruthless champion he is today. But even the Bloodline has shown signs of cracking. The internal conflicts between Roman and his cousins, Jay and Jimmy Uso, have threatened to tear the faction apart. And if anyone knows the art of causing chaos, it's Paul Heyman. So, when Moxley came out and called Heyman out for his role in both the Shield and the Bloodline's success, it was more than just a personal attack. It was a challenge to the very foundation of WWE's recent history. Moxley was questioning the legacy of both factions. And in doing so, he was challenging Heyman's self-proclaimed role as the architect of their rise and fall. Jon Moxley's response. It didn't take long for Jon Moxley to respond. After hearing Heyman's bold declaration, Moxley couldn't stay silent. He's always been a man of action, but this time, the words cut deeper than ever before. In an emotional social media post, Moxley fired back at Heyman, calling out his lies and manipulation. Moxley made it clear that he wasn't just a pawn in Heyman's game. He wasn't someone to be controlled or manipulated. Moxley's post was a shot across the bow, an acknowledgement of the past but also a declaration that he was done being anyone's puppet. But what does this mean for the future? Is this the beginning of a new chapter for Jon Moxley? A man who has broken free from the chains of WWE's creative control and is now determined to destroy the very man who helped shape his career. The implications for WWE. This feud is far from over. In fact, it's only just beginning. Paul Heyman's self-proclaimed role as the mastermind behind the Shield and the Bloodline is one that cannot be ignored. But as Moxley's challenge grows louder, Heyman will have to defend his legacy, or risk it all unraveling. What does this mean for the future of WWE? For the first time in years, the company is facing a conflict that questions the very nature of its past. Are we witnessing the destruction of two of the most iconic factions in history? Or is this a setup for a new era of power struggles, betrayals, and alliances? As this war between Paul Heyman and Jon Moxley intensifies, the WWE universe is left wondering, who will come out on top? Will Heyman maintain his position as the puppet master, or will Moxley be the one to expose him for the fraud he may be? This isn't just a battle between two men, it's a war over the very soul of WWE. The Shield. The Bloodline. Paul Heyman's legacy. Jon Moxley's rebellion. The stakes have never been higher, and the outcome is uncertain. But one thing is for sure, the WWE universe is watching closely. And whatever happens next will change the landscape of professional wrestling forever. What do you think? Will Paul Heyman be revealed as the true mastermind behind the Shield and the Bloodline? Or will Jon Moxley expose him as the manipulator he is? The war has just begun, and we're all in for one wild ride. But wait, there's so much more to discover. Click on the next video right here, shown on the screen, for more exclusive insights, reactions, and all the latest happenings in the wrestling world. You won't want to miss it. Every click helps us grow and brings you more amazing content. So please, don't leave just yet, join us for the next video and keep the wrestling conversation going. Thank you for being part of our community. Goodbye for now.